Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Inside LSU Baseball. I'm your host, Jason Armstrong, here to bring you the Texas A&M preview that's going to be going down this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in College Station. Going to be an awesome series, a big series for both teams, but can't wait for this one. This is a series that I think both teams have been looking forward to all year. And it's going to be a very good gauge again for LSU because that's a very talented team. Before we get into the preview, I wanted to just quickly touch on the midweek game against Southeastern. LSU, man, that was a very impressive midweek game against a Southeastern team that's a 30-win team, a team that's right now in control of the Southland Conference. Looks like they're going to be a regional team. I think the RPI is mid 50s. So that's a sneaky good midweek game. And LSU put it on. It was a 13-2 run rule game. And it was impressive, especially coming off of such an emotional series against Tennessee. It wouldn't have surprised me one bit to see LSU come out flat. William Schmidt got the start through 3 2/3, gave up 4 hits. 2 runs, only 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. He's now 7-0 on the year. And he was cruising. I want to say he struck out like 5 out of the first 6 batters or something like that. It was like he had 5 strikeouts in the first maybe 2 innings. And in the 3rd inning, I think they started to maybe scratch a little bit. They hit a home run off of him. But another good outing. He looked really good. LSU offensively pounded out 11 hits. Danny Dickinson, Josh Pearson, Michael Braswell, they all drove in 2 runs. Curiel reached 4 times. He was 2 for 2, had 2 walks also. Dalton Beck got another pinch hit opportunity, hit a line drive into right field. That was awesome to see. Jones hit a home run, 15th home run of the year, and then Ethan Fry walked it off with, I want to say his 8th home run of the year. It was a grand slam. The bullpen was very encouraging. DJ Primo got in the game. He faced 5 batters, and he only allowed 1 hit, no walks. That was a big thing, and he didn't hit anybody. So he struck out 3. Jaden Newt struck out 3 of the 4 batters he faced. I don't believe he walked anybody either. Connor Ware worked a scoreless inning, no walks. That's the big theme here. So overall, the pitching staff for LSU struck out 14 and only walked 1. And that is a good Southeastern team, a very good Southeastern team. So I thought that was a very impressive win. And again, William Schmidt just continues to improve. He looks very good in these midweek starts. One thing I did is that I looked at a comparison of right now, where is William Schmidt entering week 8 of conference play compared to where Cade Anderson was last year at the same time. And if you look at the numbers, it's a very good indication that William Schmidt is going to have a great year next year. He's actually, his ERA at the same point last year, Cade Anderson was 4-2 with a 4.35 ERA. William Schmidt 7-0 with a 4.11 ERA. Anderson started 8 games. Schmidt has started 6. The innings are almost identical. Cade Anderson had thrown 31 innings to William Schmidt's 30 2/3 innings. Anderson, 29 hits given up to Schmidt's 27. Earned runs are within 1. Schmidt's walked 3 more than Anderson did, and Anderson struck out 46 compared to William Schmidt's 38. But William Schmidt's only allowing a 231 batting average to Cade Anderson's 254. So the point in all of that is to say, we see the jump that Cade Anderson has made from last year. And there were times last year when Cade Anderson looked exceptional. And then sometimes you said, well, this is a freshman. He's going through some growing pains. Same thing with William Schmidt. There's times when he's just incredible. You can see the stuff. And then there are other times where maybe he comes in a big moment and can't find the zone. But if that's any indication of what we can expect from William Schmidt next year, sign me up. So now let's take a look at this Texas A&M series. And let's start with an overview of Texas A&M. As everybody is probably aware, this was the consensus preseason number one team in America. And on paper, it almost looked more talented than the College World Series runner-up from last year. And that was before some injuries happened. But what they did from the returning players, the portal, some high school additions. This is an ultra talented team that everybody had number one going into the year. Everybody's familiar with this is Michael Early's first year as the head coach. He was the hitting coach previous few years. And when Schlossnagel went to Texas, he wound up becoming the head coach. The pitching coach is former LSU pitching coach Jason Kelly, who was Jay Johnson's first pitching coach at LSU. He then went in 23 and 24 to be the head coach at Washington. And then this year came back, and this is his first year as the pitching coach at Texas A&M. Injuries have been a big thing to this Texas A&M team early on. Last year, they had a big injury from Shane Sadeo, who was going to be one of the key pieces in this rotation this year. So you kind of lost him going into this year. Then you lose Gavin Grahovic, the All-American third baseman, who's just an incredible player. A couple of games into the season, he's out. Josh Stewart, who was a big-time reliever, right-handed reliever, lost him. Caden Sorrell has been out more than half the year. So this is a team that was really bitten by the injury bug and got off to a really slow start. This has been a different team. After the game one of the Tennessee series, where they were no-hit, run ruled, the next 15 games it's been a completely different team. So right now, Texas A&M sits at 25-19. They're 8-13 in conference, 19-9 at home. We are playing them at their place. Their last home loss was March 30th. It's a very tough place to play. Bluebell Park. A lot of noise. They do all the chants with the ball four and the bubbles every time they score. So it's a very intimidated place to pitch and to play in general once they get things going. I mentioned this, but something changed for this team in the month of April. They are 11-4 over the last 15 games. So since that Tennessee game one loss, 11-4, including a 10-1 run entering the Texas series. I mentioned they're 19-9 at home, so it's a tough place to play. Since taking over at LSU, Jay Johnson has played Texas A&M all 3 years. So this will be the fourth straight year. His teams are 5-4 against A&M. The last 2 years, LSU has won the series. So in conference play, the way it started off for A&M in their 7 series, they were swept at home against Bama. Then they went to Vanderbilt and they got swept there. Then they came home and lost the series to Kentucky. So this is a team that is 1-8 and people are just losing their minds. Nobody knows what's going on. They then go to Knoxville and at 1-8, they don't get one hit. No hitter, complete game, run rule, a 7-inning run rule. They're now sitting 1-9, and that was the nail in the coffin. I think everybody gave up on this team. They then wound up the next 2 games going crazy. They win the series at Tennessee. They then swept South Carolina, and one of those wins was, I think they were down 12-3 in like the 8th inning. They wound up coming back and hitting 2 grand slams in the last inning. So they sweep South Carolina. They go to Arkansas, win that series. So they're winners of 7 of 8 conference games entering this Texas series. And they're averaging 10 runs a game. They lost all 3 games to the Texas series by 1 run. So it wasn't like they went in there and got blown out. Now, let's talk about who this team is. This is an offense that at one point was dead last in the conference. They had like a 243 batting average. The last 15 games, they're batting 311. They've hit 33 home runs, and their batting average is up 30 points. Do not be fooled by this team's ability to swing the bats. If you look at the conference stats, I mean, their conference stats still have their batting average towards the bottom, and that's due to a terrible start of the year into conference play. But this is a team that can swing it. The big lefties in the lineup: Jace Lavalette, Caden Terrell, Caden Kent, Hayden Schott. These guys all played a major role on that 2024 team that was I think they lost the rubber match of the World Series by 1 run. And that was without Braden Montgomery, one of the top players in the entire draft, and Shane Tadeo. So I would love to have seen how that series went if they weren't. And Hayden Schott, who had a great year last year, was also banged up. So a lot of experience back from that team last year, especially the pitching staff. When you look at this rotation, these 3 lefties that they have are all experienced. They're all veterans, and they're all good. So the bullpen is paced by a lot of young arms. It's not very deep, but then again, look at a team like LSU. You know, they've got their guys, and their guys are really good. You know, they're relying on some arms that up until this year just haven't done it before. And we'll talk about some of the names in that bullpen that you'll have to expect to see. They're second to last in strikeouts, so they don't strike a lot of batters out, but they are first in walks allowed, and it's by a lot. So they throw strikes. They're 10th in the conference in SEC play with a 5.83 ERA. Again, a lot of that is what happened early on, but that's a little bit about the pitching staff as a whole. Defense, they were spectacular against Texas. I mean, Caden Terrell in right field made one of the best catches I've ever seen, laying out for a ball in right field, fully extended. Jace Lavalette tracked down the ball. He's a center fielder, went towards going towards left field, reached up. It took every bit of his wingspan up at the wall to make a great catch. I mean, Keel made some good catches, tracking balls down. So they've got some outfielders that can really make plays. Now, the infield can kick it around at times. Shortstop Caden Kent, he's very impressive. He'll make some plays that are spectacular, but he's only fielded 947 on the year with 9 errors at the shortstop position. To give you some perspective, Stephen Milam is fielding 981 with only 3 errors. Third baseman Wyatt Hensler, this is a guy who's a veteran, but he's only fielded 926 with 6 errors. So he's another one that can kick it around at times. I like the Rice transfer, second baseman Ben Royo, a lot. He's been very good over there at second base. I think he's only made 2 errors all year. But as a team, they're fielding 969 on the year, which is really not good. Now, as far as their top players and what makes this team go, you cannot talk about Texas A&M without highlighting the 6'6", 230-pound star center fielder, Jace Lavalette. Jace Lavalette was, in 2023, a freshman All-American. He was, in 2024, a first-team All-American. He's a Team USA guy. 2025, he's ranked the number 2 overall prospect for the 2025 MLB draft by MLB Pipeline. He's a 2025 Golden Spikes Award preseason, one of the favorites. And he's the preseason player of the year by numerous publications. This guy is one of the best players you will see. He's a big boy that can run. He can hit. He's got a good eye. He's just awesome. He busts on the scene in his freshman year, hitting just under 300 with 21 home runs. I remember watching him in the Palo Alto Regional. That that team just continued to get better and almost made it to the College World Series. I think they fell a game short, but he was incredible his freshman year. Last year, he hit .305 with 29 home runs and 78 RBIs, and he really hasn't slowed down this year. I mean, he's the SEC active career leader in home runs. For his career, he's got 65 home runs. I mean, he's hit .295 for his career. I mean, every year as far as like 10 doubles, 16 doubles. He's got 9 doubles this year. He's a guy who's hit 63 RBI, 78, 52 this year. I mean, he's just a guy who can hit. In conference play, he's even better. He hit .340 as a freshman, .308 last year. I mean, so he's at .315 lifetime batting average in conference play. Half of his home runs, more than half, have been in conference play. I mean, the guy could just flat out hit. And against the best pitching there is, so you're talking about SEC pitching, he is striking out less this year. So he's down to an 18% strikeout rate, and his walks are up to 26% of the time. So both of those are career best. So this guy's getting better. To give you a comparison, Jared Jones has almost a 31% strikeout rate and a walk rate of only 7%. So that kind of paints a picture of how good Jace Lavalette is. Versus LSU last year, Lavalette was 3 for 12 with a double and 2 home runs, but you also struck him out 8 times over the 3 games, including a 4 strikeout game and a hat trick. So you pitched him well last year. I don't know if Nate Yeske, being their pitching coach in 2023 helped, but I don't know. But you pitched him pretty good last year. I say that, and I mean he still hit 2 home runs and made impact in the series. But now Lavalette's got plenty of support in this lineup. Leadoff, Terrence Keel, I believe Terrence is his first name. This is a freshman that's hitting .329, 10 doubles on the year, and he's got 11 stolen bases. This is one of the best freshmen in the entire country. I talked about third baseman Wyatt Hensler. This guy is the active career leader in hits, doubles, RBI, runs scored, and third in home runs, only behind Jace Lavalette and Mississippi State's. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. The first baseman at Mississippi State. How can I not remember this guy's name right now? This is going to kill me. Anyway, Lavalette's got 65 career home runs. Wyatt Hensler's got 63. And this is a guy who is an Ivy League, legend. When he was at Penn, he was there 4 years, but his sophomore, his last 3 years, he hit 14 home runs, 18 home runs, and then 22 home runs. So this is a guy with lots of experience, and it's surely carried over from the Ivy League to Texas A&M. Right fielder Caden Sorrell, this guy's hitting over 500 with runners in scoring position this year. He leads the team with a .377 batting average. He actually missed more than half of the year due to an injury. In only 19 games, he has 9 home runs and 5 doubles. So 14 of his 26 hits are extra base hits. He's slugging .870, has 6 home runs and 4 doubles in his 4 conference games that he's played. Catcher Bear Harrison is a guy that I think we might have even been after in the transfer portal. He played at St. Mary's College out in California. This guy's been a big surprise. He's tied for the best batting average on the team in conference play with a .311 batting average. Also has 6 home runs. He's second in the entire conference in hit by pitch with eight of them. He's 5th in the conference with RBIs with 23, and he's 8th in on-base percentage at .469. So this is a guy that's come on really strong, and he's hitting the heck out of the ball. It's a big, strong kid that can do some damage. When he left the Arkansas series, he was batting .342, and since then he went on a 1-for-17 run, and his batting average actually dipped below 300 overall. But this is a very, very powerful hitter. He has had the hat trick 4 times this year, so he goes in ruts where he can strike out. But pleasant surprise for A&M behind the plate. Shortstop, Caden Kent. If you watch baseball, you know who this guy is. They showed his dad, Jeff Kent, about 100 times last year in the College World Series. Caden Kent got his break when Braden Montgomery got hurt. They had to make some changes in the infield. And this is how Caden Kent got his break. And during that Omaha run last year, I mean, he went nuts. He was 10 for 24 in the College World Series, had a home run and 7 RBIs. In the postseason, he had 2 home runs, 14 RBI. He actually hit a grand slam against Oregon in the Super Regional. I mean, the guy can swing it. He's had a sub 300 batting average since the first game of SEC play against Bama, but he's got a respectable 287 batting average with 9 home runs. His 41 RBI is second on the team. And, I mean, this guy's going to play professional ball. And LSU was hot and heavy after Caden Kent in the transfer portal. A lot of those players were looking to possibly leave when their coach left, but he wound up staying. A lot of these guys just stayed put, and he's a good player. First baseman Blake Binderup is one of these guys that coming into the year, they just really thought he might catch fire. He hadn't been really good up until this point. A big old strong kid, and he's been a big surprise. He's tied with Bear Harrison for the best batting average in conference play. He's hitting 311, and 5 of his 7 home runs have come in the last 12 games. So this is the guy who's hitting the ball in conference play, and he's starting to find his power. The last guy I'll mention is Ben Royo. He's a transfer from Rice. This guy was 4 for 4 in game 1 of the Texas series out of the 9-hole. And then he got a hit his first at bat of game 2. So he was like 5 for his first 5. He's hitting 300 on the year with 8 home runs. There's a couple of other guys, depending on if it's like a right-handed pitcher or a left-handed pitcher, that they might substitute. Sometimes they'll go in there to, Hayden Schott, the left-handed hitter, against maybe a righty. Sometimes they'll go to Yamal George. They'll put him in left field. So they've got a couple other guys that they'll platoon in there. But that kind of gives you an idea of what they've got in this lineup. Now, the starting rotation, it's been the same all year, which is a luxury. Same 3 guys have started every weekend. You're talking about the Friday night guy is going to be Ryan Prager. Saturday, you're going to see Justin Lampkin, and Sunday, it's going to be Miles Patton. They've got very similar overall stats through 11 starts. I mean, the Friday and Saturday guy both thrown right at 62 innings. The Sunday guy, Patton's thrown 57 2/3, but they've all allowed between 58 and 61 hits. All the same walks have been between 12 and 15. Strikeouts, Prager, their Friday night guy's got the least amount of strikeouts with 54. Lampkin's got 69 in 62 innings, and Patton's got 64 strikeouts and 57 innings. So just very, very close, all of these guys, what they've done. Now, in conference play, Ryan Prager has just not been himself. I mean, he's got a 6.23 ERA. Their Saturday guy, Justin Lampkin's, 4.93 ERA, and then Miles Patton's 6.62 ERA. Again, if you look at the way that they started the year, maybe a lot of these numbers are inflated because of some of those bad outings. But I want to say early on, they were pitching fine. It's just they weren't hitting the ball. But let's talk about Ryan Prager's going to be who matches up against Cade Anderson. Very different than facing a guy like Kyson Witherspoon or Liam Doyle. I would liken this more to like a Zane Adams from Alabama. But Ryan Prager, I mean, this is the guy, 2025 preseason first-team All-American, the 2025 preseason SEC Pitcher of the Year, first-team All-ACC preseason. I mean, he was rated as the number 70 overall prospect in the 2025 draft by MLB Pipeline. And this is the guy that last year was selected by the Dodgers with the 81st pick in the third round. That's pretty high. You don't typically see guys come back to school drafted that high. Looking at his year so far, I don't know that was a great move, but a lot of it had to do with, he wanted to win a championship. They came very close, and I'm sure he's getting some NIL money, but, overall, he's got a 4.04 ERA, 62 innings pitched, in 11 starts. So he's averaging 6 2/3 innings. So basically, he's getting Texas A&M well into the seventh inning, getting to 2 outs in the seventh inning. So that's really good. He's given them a lot of length. His last start this past weekend against Texas was easily his best outing, going 5 2/3. He only gave up 1 earned run on 6 hits. So that was a really good outing for him. The book on Ryan Prager, this is a guy who's not going to throw hard. He's throwing 88, 89 on his fastball, but that 80-mile-an-hour changeup, like he'll throw it like pitch after pitch, and it's hard to deal with. And this is a guy who's done it. I mean, I just read you all the accolades from preseason. I mean, even with only throwing that amount of velocity, I mean, he's done it against the best hitters there are. He did it all last year. This year hasn't been quite as good, but the guy knows how to pitch. But it's a different type of pitcher, and they've got a couple guys like this. Their Saturday guy, Justin Lampkin, started 16 starts game again. So this is a guy who started all through last year in 2024, had 17 strikeouts over 10 2/3 innings in the College World Series, only gave up 3 runs. Overall, in this year, 3.92 ERA. He also averages 6 2/3 per start, which is very good. He's only of the 3 starters with a conference ERA that's under 5, so he's got a 4.93 ERA in conference play, whereas Prager and Miles Patton both have above 6 ERAs. The book on Justin Lampkin, he's the hardest thrower of their 3 left-handed starters. He's going to be 93 to 94. He does do a very good job of busting right-handed hitters in. The other 2 like to kind of live away to right-handed hitters. Lampkin does a very good job of going inside to right-handed hitters. That's what makes him successful. He still does have the low 80s changeup he can go down and away to righties with. He does have the slider. He can go to, against lefties. But that's kind of the book on Lampkin. Lampkin matched his season best with 8 strikeouts against Texas, but he was roughed up the previous week against Arkansas, giving up 9 hits in 4 innings and 7 earned runs. All of these pitchers have kind of had their moments. They've had got a 7 starts, maybe 5 decent starts, 2 rough starts. But Sunday starter Miles Patton, which we don't have a Sunday starter yet for LSU, but this is a guy that in 2024, he was a sought-after transfer portal guy coming from Long Beach State, made 11 starts, went 4-3, logged a 3.26 ERA, and struck out a team-high 85 batters in just 66 and a third innings. This year, he's sporting a 4.84 overall ERA. The book on Patton, he throws 89 to 90. And he likes to work up and away in the zone. A lot of times these lefties like to work down. He likes to work up and away, especially the right-handed hitters. He's got a low 80s breaking ball and changeup. The thing about Patton that's a lot different, he's got good deception due to a really herky-jerky motion. Like when he takes that first step back, he kind of pauses, and then he kind of does his goes over his head as he starts his wind-up and leg kick, and it's kind of herky-jerky, and so it's a little bit deceptive when you're standing in there in the box. The key is when he pitches from the stretch, he looks like a normal lefty throwing 88 to 89, so you got to get him in the stretch. The best collective weekend for the starting rotation was this past weekend against Texas, even though they got swept. The 3 starters combined to go 16 2/3, only allowed 5 earned runs, 5 walks to 16 strikeouts. So that's a 2.70 ERA. Again, they lost 3 one-run games. So they're kind of finding things as LSU's coming to town. Now, this bullpen, they really miss senior right-handed pitcher Josh Stewart, who, after facing one batter the second week of the season in his first outing of the year, suffered a season-ending knee injury that sidelined him for the rest of this year. Last year, 5 of his 25 appearances were in Omaha. He struck out 12 batters in 9 innings in Omaha. So, this is a guy that was very good and played a big part of that bullpen last year. If you remember him, he was like a slider specialist, man. He would come in there and he just had a wicked slider. He could throw it every pitch. He was a nightmare on righties. They don't have him. And then outside of Brad Rudis, who is the SEC's active career leader in appearances with 84, the Aggies are relying on a lot of younger arms, sophomore arms that just haven't done it before until this year. Now, in conference games, or when the game's on the line and it's a close game, there's really 3 main arms they're going to go to. It's Caden Wilson, the left-handed pitcher, his sophomore year. We first saw him last year in the CWS. Weston Moss, he's a right-handed pitcher who has been their best reliever thus far. And then Luke Jackson, who's kind of just come on the scene as of late. Those 3 guys, if you look at the games that they've played in conference in this last, 15-game span, the games they win, these are the guys that are pitching. Weston Moss is a right-handed pitcher. Going into the Texas series, he had only allowed 1 earned run over his last 17 in the 3rd innings. He did give up a homer in game 1 of the Texas series when they were down 1-0. He gave up a home run, and then he came in again, game 2, I think it was, and he walked the bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th. It was a game that they were actually winning. So he got pulled, and then the next pitcher that came in gave up a single, so Texas went up. So that kind of, wasn't a great weekend for him, and he didn't pitch much, but he doesn't have overpowering stuff, but man, he uses his off speed very well, and he just pitches well. He threw 6 scoreless innings against Kentucky and then 5 scoreless innings against Arkansas, both games that A&M won. So the guy's a good bullpen arm. Now, Luke Jackson is a right-handed pitcher that has just emerged in the Arkansas series, and he gives their bullpen another nice arm. I've seen him get up to 96, 97 against Arkansas. He threw 3 2/3 scoreless innings with 5 strikeouts. That was really when he kind of bust on the scene, hard thrower. The other guy that they'll typically go to, so if they can't finish the game with Prager and Weston Moss, they'll go Prager or even Lampkin, Moss, and then Caden Wilson. They like to end the game with Caden Wilson. Man, he's a left-handed pitcher that can get it up to 97 with a really tough slider to hit. His last 5 appearances, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and only 1 walk to 11 strikeouts. And this is a guy with College World Series experience. So those are really the 3 key bullpen arms. They just don't have a lot that they trust. So that's Texas A&M. So if you just wanted to learn about Texas A&M, that's it. You can turn this off if you want, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about LSU now. Well, let's talk about LSU going into the series. Pitching-wise, Tigers have a 4.23 ERA in conference, which is good for second best. They lead the league in strikeouts, and they're second in runs allowed. So they're doing a good job. They're second in home runs allowed as well, which that's a big deal. When you don't give up the long ball against these SEC offenses, you're going to win a lot of games. This 1-2 punch of Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson is really turning into something special. When you look at the leaders in the SEC and strikeouts, Cade Anderson is actually number 1 in conference with 65 strikeouts ahead of Liam Doyle. And then Anthony Ianson is number 3 with 56. I did a comparison. I actually tweeted this out, but if you didn't see it, I looked at strikeouts per 9 innings in conference games. And I looked at all of the SEC aces and all of the most prolific strikeout artists in the SEC with a minimum of 6 starts. I mean, if you only started a few starts, that's not fair because the more starts you have, the more teams have the book on you. But of all of the starters in the SEC, Anthony Ianson has the most strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. He's got 14.2 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched, above Cade Anderson. Cade Anderson's second at 13.6 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. That is really impressive. So you've got two guys that are the best at striking hitters out in the entire conference. And now you've got two bullpen arms that have two of the three lowest ERAs in the entire conference. Zach Collins got a 1.07 ERA against SEC hitters. Kason Evans has a 1.17 ERA. Zach Collins has 25 and a third innings pitched in conference play, 5 walks to 30 strikeouts, and 5 saves. Kason Evans, he's pitched 23 innings in conference play, 6 walks to 28 strikeouts. He is 2-0 with 3 saves. So you combined LSU's two best bullpen arms, and you have in conference play, and these are one guy who came from a mid-major Wofford, another guy who's a freshman, 45 and a third innings pitched, 11 walks, 58 strikeouts, 2 wins, and 8 saves. That is the most impressive bullpen duo in the country. It's got to be. And I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. That is why I would take LSU against any team in the country for 2 games. For 2 games. Now, you might say, well, doesn't that mean you would take them in a series to win? Well, the tough part is that if you knew you only had to play 2 games, you would be sure that you pitched Cowan one game, and Evans the other game. The problem is sometimes even when Anderson's pitching, you might be behind in that game, and you're not going to go to one of your 2 best relievers unless you're tied or in the lead, because you're looking at what gives me the best chance to win 2 out of the 3 games in the series. So, but again, this starting rotation is extremely formidable, if not one of the best. 2 of the best bullpen arms there is. And then you've got guys like Jaden Newt, Connor Ware, DJ Primo, Cooper Williams, Jacob Myers. I mean, heck, Grant Fontenot, William Schmidt. These are all guys that are trending upward right now. All of them. That's just based on whether it was their last outing or last couple outings. Some of these guys are figuring it out, and they're going to continue to figure it out. You even have guys like, you still got Connor Binge. And look, Connor Binge has been an important piece for you. Had that bad outing against Tennessee, where I think it was Tennessee, where he came in and walked. Maybe that was Alabama, where he came in and walked the bases loaded and then walked in a run or hit a guy. So he might be in Jay's doghouse, but this is a guy who's shown he can get hitters out in spurts, if in the right in the right sequence. Teams aren't batting very high against him. It's just a matter of command. Maverick Rizzi, he's another guy that, nasty. He throws up to 99 with a lot of arm side run. So I like the arms that this team has. And look, I still think you're going to be Sunday TBA this week. I would doubt that you're going to. Well, I know so. What am I talking about? I already saw the rotation. So, if you don't use Kason Evans, then you'll most likely, or Zach Cowan, maybe either one of them starts Sunday. But again, I'm not out on Chase Shores as a reliever. I loved seeing him coming in, throwing 100. He's just got to get back out there and get some command. So my point is that I think this team has enough in the bullpen. We're very critical because they don't have 3 definite starters and all these arms they can trust. But look, all that matters is what you got going down the stretch. Offensively, the Tigers are starting to turn it around. They scored 25 runs the last 2 games. And listen to this. That was against the number 4 and the number 6 team in the nation when it comes to ERA. Tennessee has the 4th lowest ERA in the whole nation with 3.35. Southeastern is the number 6th team in ERA in the entire nation at 3.53. So, that's 2 good pitching staffs And I don't care if Southeastern was during the midweek. I mean, those are guys that I've seen him use multiple times. So, in those two games, Curry out 6 for 6. Jones 3 for his last 7 with a home run and a double. Dickinson 3 for 6. Braswell 3 for his last 6 with 4 RBI. So you've got guys that are really coming on, and you just need guys throughout the lineup to continue to step up. LSU's not really striking out a lot in games. It's just a matter of making hard contact, hitting the ball on the ground. You're going to see 3 pitchers that they're not known for their fastball. They're known for their pitchability. And so hitting the ball on the ground, forcing that team with a second worst fielding percentage in the conference is going to be very important. Now, defensively, LSU's got a 983 fielding percentage. That is second best in the league. The 12 errors in conference play, I mean, the only team with less errors is Texas with 10. So, look, the pitching staff's on the up and up. The offense seems to be catching its stride. The defense has played well all year. I like where LSU is at. You're down to 3 series left. A&M, Arkansas, who's lost 3 straight series, and then South Carolina, who, they're not terrible, but they haven't played great this year. I think they've got, 4 or 5 conference wins so far this year. So you finish the season there. I think LSU can win this series this weekend. I think they will win the series this weekend. But again, that win last weekend at home against Tennessee was big time. So you set yourself up down the stretch. Looking forward to this weekend. And as always, we'll be right back here after the series to talk all about it. And as always, thank you so much for joining me, and we will talk to you soon.